We're way behind, but I'm so excited to have this person join us. She is a Northern California writer, everybody. I love my NorCal writers. Lea Aschkenas, is that how you say your last name, Lee? Lee, this is, am I anywhere close to that being correct?
You are. Good job. Yeah, Lea Aschkenas.
No, thank you very much. She's written book reviews, articles for the Washington Post, Book World, LA Review of Books, and Salon. And she's done a travel memoir. I just like to establish your bona fides before we get into our conversation. She did a travel memoir on Cuba. And I guess you have a real love of Cuba, which is I want to ask you about because your little girl in this story, in this children's story, which is so sweet and so great. And I really enjoyed it. With great illustrations, by the way. The illustrations are done by a husband-wife team. Is that right?
Yes. And I was so pleased when I saw them.
Yeah. And so this story is accompanied by these magnificent illustrations, but it takes place, to my point, it's a Cuban girl, right, who is involved in this. I wonder if you can give us a sense for what it is.
Yeah. So the book is Arletty's Abuelo and the Message in a Bottle. And it is based on the true story of this little girl, Arletty's, who on her 8th birthday finds a message in a bottle on a beach near her home in rural Cuba.
How did you find out that this, as you say, so I think the fact that it's based on a true story is really cool. How did you find out about this story to write about it?
Yeah, so in addition to writing, I'm a librarian, and I was working at a library in Sausalito, California. And my adult memoir, which is called Es Cuba, was just about to be published. So all of my coworkers knew about my connection with Cuba. And one of them said that there was this library patron who came in all the time and had this great story about Cuba. And she thought that I should meet him and maybe I'd want to write something about it. So I met him, and he was the man, he was the sailor who had written this message in a bottle.
Yeah, so in the story, this message literally is it's the message in the bottle stuff that we, hear about and know about even as kids, you know what I mean? It's this, but in this case, it actually connected. That is to say, the message in the bottle was received by another person.
Yes, and it really is extraordinary when you imagine that it like washes ashore on this beach, and it's this little girl's 8th birthday. And also her family lives on this very long street in rural Cuba. They had never left their street. Everything they needed was on it. The job, the school, their family. And this was their first trip outside of their street to go to this beach. And then it ended up leading to this much bigger connection to the world. And also extraordinary is that the message was written in English and the family speaks Spanish. So they could make out the words United States. And the girl was so excited that her mother said, we can write to it. They might not get the letter. They might not read Spanish, but her daughter insisted. And coincidentally, the sailor at that time was studying Spanish.
That's just, it's just so perfect. Where's the book? I thought I had it here. Hold on a second.
Okay.
I would have thought you'd be showing pictures from the book, Albert.
Do you want me to hold one up?
Whoever is producing this thing has no idea what they're doing.
I'm sorry, Lee. This is the beautiful book.
There you go.
You can see the illustration there on the cover.
Yes.
To be fair to Albert, I don't know if he has any of the if anything was included in the materials, but which is even better. If you can't do anything, yelling at him is even more fun. But it does end up this. This is found by this girl on this beach, and she begins this relationship. Now, what's kind of cool is like many true stories, she begins a relationship with this guy. I'm going to say relationship to be clear, thank you, Albert. That was very nicely done. The relationship then, eventually they meet. These two people who have corresponded. And they begin to correspond in ways other than the bottle, right?
they become pen pals. They write actual physical letters, and they send each other photos, and Arletis and her little sister Aurelis draw little pictures and send them to Steve the sailor.
Yeah, so he's a sailor, so he's into maps, and it's established that she's into maps, this little girl, and so they do meet, and he does spend, there's a visit, right? They actually visit, and they spend, he spends time with her family.
Yes. So when they're writing each other, and when
Spoiler alert, by the way. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I know it's hard not to do that.
Yeah.
When they start writing each other and he sends a photo of himself, she sees that he's older, that he could be her grandfather. And she has never had a grandfather. She has grandmothers, but her grandfathers had died before she was born. So she starts calling him Abuelo, or grandfather, Esteban, Steve. And she says, I hope that someday, like a real grandfather, you'll come visit me and my family.
That's just so great. Hey, because it was Cuba, was there some pushback from publishers who didn't want to? I mean, I'm just always, sadly, politics infests everything these days.
Yes, definitely. And so this story was a long time in getting published. I don't ultimately know if that was an issue with the children's book, but it did start out as a adult article before I'd met Arletis and her family. Just me interviewing Steve. And I don't know, maybe I shouldn't name the publication, but there was a rather major publication in San Francisco that wanted to publish this. And at the time, Steve had gone to Cuba illegally because
Oh, I see.
you couldn't go without a group to Cuba. And so I needed to not use his last name. And the lawyers at this publication said, we can't have anonymous sources. And so I'd already signed the contract. I got paid a big kill fee, and the article did not get published there. So that was political, not so much on part of the paper, but the fact that I couldn't safely reveal his name.
And then this just feels so right for a movie or some kind of something. Have they talked to you about that? Have you been approached by that? Have your people been?
I have not, but I would love it. I feel like it's very cinematic in both its settings in Cuba and Sausalito, California. And there's a much bigger backstory on either end because the book is a moment in time. It's the letters and the first visit. There's 2 subsequent visits, 20 years past, there's still a connection. So yeah, I think it would be a great movie.
I think you're right for all the reasons you just mentioned. So Lea Aschkenas, it's Arletis, Abuelo, and the Message in a Bottle. And it's a kid's book, and it's just great. I really, there's just enough going on to keep you it's a good little yarn, and the pictures are magnificent. So it really, congratulations, Lea. Really well done.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
in Sausalito. Do you still work in the library?
I still work at the library, but not that library. But I did go back there last month and I presented the book there, and that was really special.
Oh, that's super cool. Yeah. Well, you're a real writer. I mean, as I say, you've written for a lot of stuff for adults, and but it's cool that you found this outlet and that it was received by your old colleagues there in the Sausalito Library.
Yeah.
Lea, visit again, and congratulations on getting this published and on it getting released. And we look forward to your next project.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Lea Aschkenas, everyone. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell, you'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.